The problem with most people is that they are playing the world's most unrewarding game. The name of the game is follow the follower. And oh my God, that really woke me up. And it's like, stop being a follower.
Many of us who start small businesses usually have a very good reason. They might want to be escaping the 9 to 5 corporate land. They may have a passion that they want to follow, a new dream, a new idea. But what happens if that passion stops filling your cup? Today we're speaking to Nicola Dickinson, and she is very, very, very excitingly starting a brand new path after spending many years running her own business, and she's stopping it. Why? We're going to find out in today's episode. But before we do that, please, 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 if you like what you hear today, please give us a thumbs up. And of course, if you'd like to hear more from us, make sure you do subscribe to our channel. Have a great time. Right, Nicola, I'm really excited for this interview because we've known you for a little while now. And when you said you're coming on the podcast, I got a little bit giddy because I do know a little bit about your story, but I'm excited for you to share that with our guests. So before we start, you've listened to a few of these episodes now. There is a bit of a format, a bit of a structure. We have some sort of plan between us. We have to ask you one single question. And that question is, what is it that you're trying to achieve right now?
Do you know, I thought about this one quite a lot because I've listened to some of the other podcasts and I'm like, oh God, how am I going to follow that one? But I have been on quite a bit of a journey from before business and coming into business. And it's like, what am I trying to achieve now at my later age in life? And it is actually
22.
to live how I want to live and do what I want to do, not what other people expect me to do, and to be how I want to be and not how I think I should be with everybody else.
And that's quite a powerful statement. So for the benefit of our listeners right now, you're currently going through quite a major transition in your business life, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in the process of closing one down and in training for a new career. So I'm closing down the hand and nail care business, which is proving a lot more difficult and a lot slower than what I expected, and in training to be a forest bathing guide.
Massive transition, massive difference.
It is a massive transition. But the bit for me, and like I say, I've been doing my due diligence on your LinkedIn profile. The bit for me is the theme that runs across all of these, right? It's your love of the outdoors, your love of the natural world, and all of that. So before we get into the details of your businesses, where's that come from? Is that just something that's always been with you? Or, you know, was there something, where has that love for all that natural world come from?
I don't think it's always been there. I remember when I was younger and lived in London, and the whole family had their own chalet down on the Isle of Sheppey. So we'd go there every single weekend without fail. And I used to joke, say I used to get evacuated down there every single school holiday because mum and dad was full-time work and my nan used to live down there for the season. So I was always near the beach and near big open fields when I was a kid, but actually didn't really like it because my friends were still back in London. But I think it probably got reignited when we moved from London to Southampton, and my husband comes from a naval background. So he gets really stroppy and moody if you don't get a view of the sea every so often. And I think
I'm like that, and Yeah. No, I'm like that, and I wasn't in the Navy. Can I just say, look, I'm so sorry. This is how my head works. When you said you were evacuated, I'm like, you weren't in World War II. You're not that old, so I'm sorry. But no, what I find fascinating is how those little things that happen when we're young, when we're children, those little things have a massive impact. The ripple effect is huge, and we just don't know when it's going to come along. At the time you're taken kicking and screaming, so to speak, to the beach because you want to hang out in the big smoke with your mates. But the reality is that those little seeds were planted, and fast forward all these years, it's like, actually, that's what I love. That's what I want to be near. That's what I want to do. And I'm fascinated how that happens in our lives.
Yeah, I remember like it would be over an hour's drive to get from London down to there, and I wasn't the best of travelling. I'd always make myself fall asleep on the back seat so I didn't get travel sickness. And I remember when we get there, the first thing I would do, get out the car, get the football, and then just run hell for leather, kicking the ball all the way down to the end of the field and back again. And I think looking back now, it was that being out in the open and just being able to absolutely run without no traffic, not getting told off, not getting like, you can't kick that ball here, like what you used to
Yeah.
get on a council estate in London. So
Yeah.
That is
looking
a
back,
massive sense of freedom, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
So Nicola, what I want to get to the crux of in this interview, if possible, is that you've already touched on it. So you are currently closing a business, a very successful business at that, and you are completely going off piste and retraining, and not just in retraining in something related to beauty or beauty therapy. You are going completely to be into the woods to do forest bathing, and that's quite a substantial sized training course as well. What is the motivation for you? Because obviously you haven't, I'm not going to pick your age out, but you have mentioned you're at the latter stage in probably your working career.
23, not 22, as you say.
I know.
Yeah.
What is the motivator for you to do such a massive transition into something completely different to what you've been doing for the last few years?
So going back, it goes back really to when I was at probably secondary school, or even before then, actually. I've always felt that I needed to be part of the crowd. I've always needed to feel that I belonged to something through a big loss that happened in our family when I was only a little girl. So it's like, okay, I just feel that I needed to belong to something somewhere. So I can look back and see over nearly all my life that I've always done things to get that feeling, sensation, whatever, and whether it's been good or bad, I've just gone with it. And when we moved to Southampton because of my husband's work, he was like, okay, what am I going to do? I went and got a job because I've got that feel of community and loved it. And then I trained to be a beauty therapist, and I was working at I don't know if I'm allowed to name companies or not. Am I allowed to name companies?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used
We're
to
not
work,
the BBC yet.
I used to work at IBM at Hursley,
Oh, nice.
and I was training to be a beauty therapist there at the time because I was only there part time. And I made a mistake one day. I walked away and didn't lock my computer, and if I didn't resign, I would have got the sack. And the lady that was in charge of me said, in a really condescending manner, just go and do beauty. And I was like, that really stung. And I carried on doing beauty, worked in a beauty salon, quite a few, realised that wasn't for me, started my own beauty salon with a friend. Along came, how can I be completely different, as we're all told in business. I've never been to a networking group in my life. And then I came up with, there's not a natural nail polish remover. Well, I'll go and do it then. I had no idea how to do it. And then the networking came along. And then again, I got the sense of belonging. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was just learning on the hoof as I go. And then I started Fresh Therapies products. And I was getting the buzz and I was loving it at the time. But only after probably about 3 years, 4 years, if that, I was like, I don't like this. I hate this. I was just following, felt like I belonged, felt like I was being recognised and all that comes with that. And I hated it. I hated it. And I was like, if I don't do it, what else am I going to do? And so they say, when you put something out there, you start getting things come back to you. Things pop up on your phone. People start talking about things. And it took me a lot of money, a lot of business coaches, and a lot of mistakes to realize I can't do this anymore. And one day I just said, that's it, I'm not doing it. I'm closing it down. And as soon as I realized that fresh forest bathing was a thing, it just, the switch was just flicked on. It just changed the whole way I feel about myself, about what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. And there was a true passion there that just like, this is it. This is what I need to do for me as well as anybody else that I'm going to help. It was just, and it's funny because I've been reading a book, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And one of the things in there is the problem with most people is that they are playing the world's most unrewarding game. The name of the game is Follow the Follower. And oh my God, that really woke me up. I was like, stop being a follower. Just go and be Nicola.
It's so true, Nicola. And, you know, we see you quite a lot out of this space as well. And your whole manner, your whole face, even Alan, before we hit record on this podcast today, said your smile was really, how beautiful it was today. You seem so much more fulfilled since making that choice that we can see it physically with you as well. And that's amazing that you've got to that point. Wow.
But I mean, look, it's not for us to say this, but I think it's important to recognise the resilience, the passion, the skill that went into the fresh therapies, you know, and it felt there that I don't know what word to use. I want to say dismissive, but I don't think that's the correct word to use. But you almost went, I tried, but it went wrong, and I learned, and I'm okay with all of that. But understand, I think 10 out of 10 for the effort put into fresh therapies. Not many others would do that. And the other thing I was picking up from what you were sharing with us, thank you, was your desire to solve, right? You know, from the beauty salon where you went, well, I'll do it myself, from this isn't there, so I'm going to go and do it, to this, and you're still now trying to solve those things for yourself. That's unbelievable, because many people wouldn't do that. You know, they would make do or whatever they choose to do. But you've gone, no, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to work it out. And that, with that entrepreneurial flair, whether you realize it or not, has to be there because you're solving problems. That's unbelievable. And then to get to your passion as well, finally, I think people would dream of a story like this, an adventure. I can't say story, adventure or tale.
I think some of that is down to stubbornness as well.
Yeah, but that's a good thing, Nicola.
Yeah, sometimes it can get in the way. But with the product of the polish remover, I found somebody that was already doing it in the UK. No, there wasn't. They was Canadian. They were selling it in the UK, and it took me.
Close.
It took me about 3 months to find this product already existed. And I asked her if I could be a wholesaler, and she said, no, prove your sales. I'm like, well, it's going to be pretty easy because you've got somebody, but they're up way, way, way up north. And she actually said to me, go and prove yourself first. And I'm like, no, I'll go and do it myself. I had no idea how to do it. And again, I just went and found people that could get to do it, really.
You've been quite savvy like that over the last few years as well with fresh therapies. What I appreciate about you is that, yeah, you've gone in, you've seen that there was an opportunity to be had there. But for many years, you were fulfilling from your kitchen table. And then we've followed you as you found distribution. You've looked at your then EU contacts in terms of distribution in Europe. You have found that next level every single time to make it the most efficient business. Now, what I also appreciate about you with Fresh Therapies is the fact that what you are now taking for that company is closing, but you have so much more skill and knowledge now in terms of what a lot of us don't think about in terms of exit strategies to businesses. You're going through that motion now. You're learning so much more about yourself again to be able to apply that to the future business as well. What would you say is your biggest takeaway as you're closing Fresh Therapies that you will definitely hold on to as you move into forest bathing?
Definitely, as best as you can, get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And to have the amount of times I've had somebody build me a spreadsheet, I am absolutely crap when it comes to numbers. Find the right people that can do the jobs that you're absolutely rubbish at and you hate doing. And get your ducks in a row. And you do have to know your business inside out. And I didn't take advantage of that. So
No.
now I'm starting up the forest bathing company. Although I know what to do, I've now got to get it done in the right order and do it properly rather than just fudge my way through it. And it seems a bit harder, but on the other hand, it seems easier because I can honestly, hand on heart, say that since I've decided to do this, I don't hardly procrastinate at all. So
That's it. It's
closing down the business is it's getting your ducks. It is really getting your ducks in a row because people want to know the insides and outs of everything about your business, really. And sometimes the questions that they ask were really painful because I just let it slide over maybe the last 2.5 years. I had no interest in whatsoever, and it just started to fall off a cliff in every aspect of business. Numbers, social media, emails going out, my list wasn't growing, and it didn't really bother me at all because my heart was nowhere near it at all. But they was the questions that people needed to know if they was going to buy anything from me. And it was hard, and it was at certain points it was embarrassing from my side of it. But I've just told the truth, and they're like, okay, that's fine. We can see the potential.
Is that pride piece? You know, you're like, actually, this is my business. I should have been more on it, or was there something else causing the embarrassment? If you don't mind me asking.
It was more of an embarrassment of that I should know this. If you're a proper business, you should know the answers to the questions that are going to be asked. You should be able to go to a spreadsheet and go, that's how much stock I've got, that's how much it costs me, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of them that I did know, but there were some that I didn't, because me and spreadsheets just were like oil and water. We just don't go. So it was an embarrassment from my point of view that I'm the founder of the company and I should know it inside out. But because I didn't have the love or the passion for it, really, not far from the very beginning, I just didn't.
I don't think you're alone, though, in the fact that people, in terms of that embarrassment or not knowing inside and out, because I think, especially in this modern age of business as well, businesses can form so quickly, and we're all, regardless of whether you're a solopreneur, you're a small team, you're a beauty therapist, you're a forest bather, you're a musician, you do what you do well, and there are gaps, but it's so fast paced that how do you ever catch up with it? I mean, you would always say back when you were in the thick of fresh therapies, too many F's and F's today.
It's a teher. Sorry.
In terms of that, social media was definitely always, or online was always, your blind spot sometimes in terms of how the hell do I do this and not wanting to do it. We now look at you with your new company and actually you're finding your feet with it really quite quickly, whether you realise it or not. We can see a change in what you're doing. But I just think, we all have those blind spots and it is okay to recognise that, I don't know my numbers always. Yes, we should but we're all realists as well. I don't. Alan's our numbers person. Thank goodness for him, because if I didn't have him, I'd have no clue right now.
Yeah, but I think you know what I think, that, like, I watch Dragon's Den. Is it called Dragon's Den? I just gone blank. And I sit there and I go, I'd be torn to shreds. I'd be torn to shreds. I'd be one of the people when they show it is the laughing stock, because they went, because I think you should, something like that, rather than black and white hard fact. But I also think passion.
Which is why I refused to go on there twice.
Did you go?
Did you apply, or did they ask? Tell us this.
The researchers called me twice with about 2-3 years gap in between each one, and I was like, no, because I was like, it's a numbers game on that show, and although you could take your accountant with you, I'm like, no, just going to eat me alive, and like, it's all a numbers game, and I'm not going there.
Sorry. Back up, Chachi. How have we known you this long and not known this, right? You must have been doing something right for them to have contacted you. Because how would they have found you otherwise?
Yeah, well, people say, oh, how did you get known? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's just through social media. But
I don't think it is, Nicola.
I think you're doing yourself a disservice for Fresh Therapies.
I really do too. Because Nicola, when you talk about how you started at and how your one of your core things was the networking and getting good at the networking, you are what I think a queen of networking. You have built so many connections over a period of years. You were selling in Europe. You were, talking to wholesale.
Don't mention Brexit.
We don't like to talk about Brexit.
No, I know. That's what I said. Don't mention Brexit.
You were talking to wholesalers. You weren't selling the odd little bottle of nail polish remover at your local market. You were going for the sales, and that comes with having some noggin about your product and your service there and what you're trying to achieve. And you had that. So to say that you'd be eaten to shreds, I think that also comes down to your personal view of your business and what you want to protect. And I suppose, and I'm reaching here, but with your new business, is that going to be a saleable business? Because surely you will be marketing your product, your service will be you, as is Yellow Tuxedo is us. We're never going to sell our company because I could sell my husband.
Sorry, everything has a price. We would take 10 million cash for Yellow Tuxedo now if anyone would like to buy it.
Would anyone like
with
to buy
no
Alan?
numbers to back it up? Right, sorry. This needs to be back on Nicola and not on us. The bit for me, the bit I get is in amongst Dragon's Den have contacted me, blah 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 blah. The key bit's passion. So fundamentally, the bit is Nicola lost the passion for Fresh Therapies, understand that, and gain the passion for the forest bathing company. So I think that's a key part. Why forest bathing though? Where was the passion for that specifically?
So I found out about it because of a lady that I know through networking years and years ago is an author and used to do a lot of ghostwriting for famous people, and then she started to write books in the wellness sector. She was just releasing a book that she was commissioned to write about trees and the health benefits of trees. So I thought, okay, I'll go along there and I'll support her. And it was all put on Facebook. So as I'm looking through the chat, I can see that other woman that's going to be attending is a forest bathing guide. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. Off I toodle and met this lady, decided to go on one of her forest bathing exercises, although it weren't in a forest. And then that was when the penny dropped. This is definitely what I need to do, because it ticked all of my boxes of getting out of Fresh Therapies. One, I don't need to be stuck in an office by myself. I could have changed that and built a team around me, but I didn't want to. So it ticked the box of me getting out of the office and getting outside. It ticked the box of me meeting people apart from just going networking. It ticked the box of I can go on holiday and not have to be looking at my emails and sending an email to my son saying, this order's just come in, can you send it out for me? And it ticked the box that if I wanted to, I can take it wherever I want to. If I decide to move to a different part of the country, I can still do it. If I decide to leave the country, I can still do it. It just ticked all of those boxes, and that was like, this is it. This is what I have to do. This is what I want to do.
I think I say this a lot, but I think what you said is so important. It wasn't necessarily, yes, you were, the forest bathing looked interesting, but it was that tick list. And, we speak to so many people on the school run, things like that, who go, I quite like to do business, but I don't know what to do. And I don't know if how many of us in our small business world actually wake up going, I want to do this today. But I think a lot more have a tick list that what they do ticks, and if it ticks enough, then yes, it's a good idea. If you're then also lucky enough that it becomes a bit of a passion project with it, then really you're winning, aren't you?
I agree. I mean, for us with Yellow Tuxedo, we've always said it, and we've been open and honest with it. If I could not be an online visibility specialist tomorrow...
Sorry, what?
what? I'd be completely at peace with it, because what we do in our job with Yellow Tuxedo...
I wouldn't. I'd be tossing and turning. I want to be an online visibility specialist.
It's really has very little to do with SEO and social media and content strategies, and insert what other marketing spiel you want us to talk about right now, but it's exactly what we're doing right now. What we value in our business is that flexibility. Like, again, working from anywhere. Last year we were very fortunate to work from Spain for the summer holidays. We could still do our job. It's about meeting new people, and it's building community and conversations for us as well. And that could be about this particular topic, it could be any topic, but the ability to really get into the thick of what people's pain points are and how we can support and cheerlead. They are the important things to us. The subject itself matters less, I think. And I think that kind of fits in with your forest bathing. Although you love forest bathing, could that be any other business as well? Or is it defined by those core 5 things that you've just said?
I suppose the other one, and one of the main ones as well, to add on to that, is helping people. I've always done that. Looking back now, it's always been a desire to help people in one way, shape or form. So I'm that lady that loiters around the car park in a good way. I loiter around the car park with my ticket.
I was going to do we want to go there?
I realised what I said. I was like, put the zipper on. But I'm the lady that will walk around the car park and go, here's my ticket, it's still got an hour left on it. And my son's cringing in the passenger seat going, just get in the car, for flip's sake, just get in the car, mother. So that's another thing to add on to the forest bathing stuff is, it's just there. It just makes everything whole.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit
Can
cheesy.
I just say, your son's clearly... No, it doesn't sound cheesy, right? It doesn't sound cheesy at all. And I'm going to come back to that after my slightly humorous, flippant comment, which is your son has known no embarrassment like a parent telling you to get out and stand in the parking space so no one else can get it before they get to it. That is the height of embarrassment as a child. Stand in that parking space. No, Mum, stand in that parking space. Right, look, what was I thinking of? I think absolutely. And I think one of the things we were talking about with you was the networking, and I think one of the reasons you're so good at it is because you're real, you're honest, you're helpful. You're not there on the sell. You're there to be helpful and go, I'm Nicola, this is what I do. And I think that needs to be kind of acknowledged. That, do you know what, Nicola, you're just a really nice person who wants to help other people, and that comes across when we chat. It's really, really quite nice.
I've not always been,
but I have another.
I used to work in that restaurant centre. And I used to think that I had to talk properly, and I couldn't. So I'd get my words muddled up. Instead of saying, I used to get the word free and the number 3. And I always used to stumble across it. So I used to get all muddled up. And there's been plenty of times when I've tried to be and speak differently. Even sometimes now when I'm doing a live on Instagram or something, my niece will watch it back who are London, and they go, you've come across as a right Hampshire og, and I'm thinking I'm speaking quite proper. So I'm learning to do that now. When I'm speaking to camera, it's like, this is what I am. Sometimes I've got a bit of Hampshire in me. Sometimes I've got a bit of Londoner in me. You take me as I am now, and there's no airs and graces.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, Nicola, I need to know. So, you've made the shift, and you've committed to the shift, and you're closing Fresh Therapies. How have the family responded to you making that change? Because you are your business, but you are part of a wider family. You've got your husband and you've got your kids as well. So, how have they all taken that?
My husband, you know what? He is just a stream. He just flows. He just goes with it. My youngest, who is 26, he's just a bit like one of those that get a real job, and then he's also, she's off with the fairies again. And my husband, Rob, he is, look, just do what you feel you've got to do. I'm here if you need me. If you want me to do anything, I'm there. I ask him things. He's like, yeah, do this, do that. He don't give a monkeys. He's like, you just go and do what you've got to do. And he has noticed a difference. He's noticed a big difference.
Oh, that's cool.
A big difference.
Good.
Rather than me whinging and I hate this, or taking 2 days in the dining room to pack up an order that's going to Hong Kong or somewhere with untold boxes and we can't get to the dining table. And he's fine. He'll just go and eat his dinner on his lap in front of the TV. But he just noticed now that I'm not getting all stressed, and yeah,
It's important. It is important because, entrepreneurship is tough. We've discussed this on many episodes now. It's a common thread, and it takes a certain kind of character to be able to ride that roller coaster. But, lots of us have started our own businesses from being either employed well, corporate well, whatever well beforehand, as a supported bubble of employment. And then we go into entrepreneurship to do what we love because we want to fill our cup. And then if you're not filling your cup doing that thing and it's causing you strain and stress and I don't want to be doing this right now, what is the point? And you've really clearly illustrated that whole what is the point, and life's too short for that. So we can only applaud you, Nicola, for making it, again, so close on that latter part of your employment journey there to actually go, no, this is not right because I don't want to do this for another 10 years or so. That is a big leap to make. So well bloody done for making that choice. And as we come to a close, unless Anna has one.
I've got a question.
Anna's got a question.
And I could tell Emily was building up, and I'm really sorry. I kind of feel we should have covered this nearly half an hour ago, but it was only when you said something in a moment ago, and I felt no, we've got to go to that, because I didn't know this. So I knew you'd been in beauty. I knew you'd been a beauty therapist, and I knew about Fresh Therapies. I didn't know about the contact center. And for me, I think, and I put contact centers and retail as very specific employment that a lot of us entrepreneurs do that ultimately sculpts what we do.
Yeah.
Go on, let's hear it. What, you spent some time in a contact center. How long? What were your learnings and takeaways from that?
As I say, it was NatWest. I also did a little stint for British Gas as well. But learning in NatWest was like, yep, I'm definitely shit at numbers, even though I'd had all the training and passed all the exams before you could go live. And 2, I would take the abuse to heart. I would get called so many nasty names, and I'm going to come down there and smash all the windows and drop the C-bomb on me and everything. And I'd have to put the phone down and start crying. I'd take it all to heart. And you was almost sat in your own little pen. And that was a thing as well. I just felt cramped in. I couldn't do it. You couldn't really make any friends because you've got your headphones on all day long. And that was probably a learning bit where I was like, I need to be connecting with people face to face. When I worked in Waitrose, I was supervisor in Waitrose and a supervisor in B&Q. I loved it. The pay was absolutely dire, but I loved the interaction and the banter and the teamwork and everything. That was part of the DNA of why I had to go into my own business. That was
Yeah.
that was
We've talked about.
a major factor in that.
Yeah, no, I get that. We talked about retail on one of the other episodes, and it is so key. You know, retail is a kind of learning platform.
It's a proper skill set.
It is. It unbelievably is. Right, go on then, Emily. Thank you, Nicola.
So Nicola, last question for you. If you were to go back in time and rewind it to your younger self anytime you like and put an arm around your shoulder, what would you say to your younger self?
You don't need anybody else to follow.
Boom.
You just make your own path. It will go crazy, but it's your path, nobody else's.
That is such a learning.
Well, I was feeling it. I think that's why we were quiet. Thank you.
Yeah, that runs so deep. It really, really does. And you are such a testament to that in terms of actually going, bugger off everyone else. I can do this myself. I'm an independent, strong person, and I'm going to forge my own path. And you're doing it again. And we really, really look forward to following you as you start this new journey as well. And everyone who's listening, please go out and find Nicola on social as well. She's doing an incredible thing. And it's really fun to watch you building it as well. We're really enjoying it. So, Nicola, thank you very much for being part of today. We've really loved hearing your story. Yes. And to everyone else, we'll see you again next time on the Digital Circus Live.
Bye.
Thank you.